Judy Collins was an icon back in the 60s when her songs so beautifully represented the questing, idealistic, bohemian new women of the era, and her activism helped bring awareness to early feminism, the civil rights movement, and the counterculture movement. At 79, she's going as strong as ever, singing, touring, promoting social change. A NextTribe advisory board member, Judy believes in the mission of celebrating the power and creativity of older women and rejecting any notion that women become less relevant as they get older.
When I was only 20, I crossed the burning border.
Judy couldn't be here with us tonight, but she wanted to add her voice to this conversation, so I sat down to talk to her a few weeks ago. So firstly, I want to ask you about your new song, Dreamers. It's so wonderful, and it's making a difference. Tell me a little bit about it.
I wrote Dreamers a couple of years ago, and I think I was sitting right here watching an interview with a young woman who was a dreamer. And the things that she said just struck me to the heart. I grew up in such a liberal, all-embracing kind of environment. My father, who was blind from the age of 4, was also somebody who believed that a woman could do everything and anything, and that his daughter, me, the oldest, could do anything I wanted to do. I think that helps. And he used to say, you know, I'm blind, how could I be prejudiced? I don't know what color you are. But I grew up in that environment, and so I'm always touched by what's going on socially. And this young woman speaking talked about her pain and her fear that her daughter was going to have to leave the country, and it inspired this song. I try to write every day. I try to write something, whether it's a poem or part of a book or something. And so it sat around for a couple of years. I didn't know what I had. I was practicing it, and one day in Seattle, at the beginning of this year, I was doing a show out there, and my husband was there, and he said, "Why don't you sing that new song?" First of all, the room went dead quiet, and then the whole room just erupted in this incredible screaming and crying. A lot of people were weeping. And that's happened ever since then when I sing it. And so I decided to make a video, which I made, you know, and also made a recording of it. It's very important to be speaking out, and I think it allows people to feel what they're feeling, which is outrage.
Here you were very involved in the civil rights movement and activism, and a very active feminism that was just beginning in the late 60s and early 70s. I think that those of us that remember some of that time, or were kids or teenagers during that time, brings something special to an important moment. So what does aging boldly mean to you?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that age has anything to do with the creative process, except that you know more. Maybe you know more. Maybe you've understood more. Maybe you've survived more. And certainly if you've survived and thrived and overcome the traumas that you've been through, and we've all been through traumas. It doesn't matter who you are, you've had them, whether it was on the schoolyard as a kid, or being bullied in college, or having a loss, a terrible loss. You have to get over the trauma and the, in a way, strangling of your voice, and you have to come out and use it, no matter what age you are. There are a lot of things that I've gone through that help me today to still, I'm doing more, I'm creating more, I am more under the gun as far as producing things and showing up than I ever was.
And what would you say to women who feel, I'm being told I'm invisible? How do you get over that? Because we're not invisible, and we can change the world.
We're not invisible, and we can change the world. I love NextTribe because I think that's part of why women are getting the idea that they can reach into their own inner soul. You know, I think everybody's got a haiku, a novel, a painting, a drawing, a poem. All of us have those things, and also we have the power to open our hearts and use our voices, whether it's voting, whether it's volunteering, whether it's rising to the top of your own definition of who you are and becoming who you think you might be.
To everything, turn, turn, turn.
What role can women our age play in shaping the culture and changing the political discourse?
First, they can vote. That's the bottom line here. You never can stop fighting because it is never over. We thought, a lot of us thought, well, it's over. It's not over. If you read history, you know it's not over. You know that every generation has to fight very often the same fights. So we become somewhat complacent, I think.
How does one not regret? When one gets older, how do we not regret?
For one thing, I think that you have to delve into a spiritual approach to your life. I do think meditation is critical. Doesn't matter what you believe in, God, Krishna, Yogananda, whatever you believe in. If it's watching the river roll by, if it's going out for walks to the park to look at the birds, something that tells you you're not the center of the universe. So meditation's important. Forgiveness is vitally important, and sometimes you need all the help you can get and all the chutzpah you can get to forgive. And I mean, you know, we have to detach from people and places and things. We may not be able to detach with love. We can detach with anger. We can detach with rage. We can detach with, you know, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. This is a life that I have to lead. When my son died, took his life, I thought my life was over. But I was told by Joan Rivers that, first of all, that there are no guilts in suicide, that you didn't cause it, you can't cure it, you can't control it, and that I had to keep working. She said, if you don't keep working, you're not going to get over this. So find something that you love, that you can pour your heart into and pour your brains into. I think that's find something to do service at. Find somebody to help.
We, as the aging boldly ones, what do we want to tell them?
Be outrageous, as well as grateful and mannerly. And the way to counteract this outbreak of bullying and hatred is to be kind and to be loving and to be embracive and to be understanding and to do the best you can. But I always think that the people who said if you change your life in some dramatic way, if you embolden yourself and empower yourself, you also change the planet. You change the world. There's something that you do. You know, we talk a lot about synchronicity in the world, and I believe that when one person makes a move to improve and change themselves and take on something that's challenging, that they were previously prevented from doing, I think they do change the picture.
What are some tips you would give to some people walking into this evening about leaving feeling really up and empowered? What are some Judy thoughts?
First of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this incredible adventure. And NextTribe is here now, and it's going to be here. So it's a resource that we're all going to take a good deal of pride in being a part of. And also, find the thing in your life that's impossible and go and do it.
You're like a rainbow coming around the bend. And when I see you happy, well, it sets my heart free. I'd like to be as good a friend to you as you are to me.